Dear student, myself Dr. P.K. Verma. I am very sorry because I am meeting you after a long period of 3 months. We all are in trouble because of this pandemic. The schools, colleges, coaching institutions, tuitions, all are closed. And you too are closed inside your homes. Of course, not only you students, but we teachers also feel very monotonous, very sad, but it is part of life. We have to overcome all the problem. To continue your studies, I am providing you this video lecture on Entamoeba histolytica. This Entamoeba histolytica is part of syllabus of Zoology Honours, Botany Pass course, and the students of Chemistry Honours having Zoology or Botany as subsidy. So, let us start. What is Entamoeba histolytica? You know that it belongs to phylum Protozoa. Earlier, this phylum Protozoa was part of animal kingdom, but after Whittaker introduced the five kingdom classification in 1969, it became part of the kingdom Protista. Phylum Protozoa has a class Sarcodina, in which all members have pseudopodia. The pseudopodia is organ of locomotion of this class, and it has various shapes, but those having finger-like pseudopodia are regarded as members of order Lobosa. In this very order, amoeba and entamoeba both are members. Now, let us know about Entamoeba histolytica. It was at first discovered in the stool of dysentery patients by Lamel in 1859. Later on, it was correlated with dysentery by Loss in 1875, who confirmed that because of infection of this protozoa, the dysentery appears. It was named as Amoeba coli because it lives mainly in the colon, in the ascending limb, and near the sigmoid part of rectum. But the generic name amoeba was objected by Sordin. Sordin said that amoeba is a free-living protozoa found in fresh waters, but this species is a parasitic and enteric amoeba, so a new name, Entamoeba, was introduced by Sordin in 1896. It means the amoebic dysentery is caused by entamoeba, not by amoeba. This amoebic dysentery is a common disease in poor and developing countries with poor system of sanitation. insufficient drainage system, and inadequate drinking water resources. Entamoeba histolytica is named so because it damages the wall of colon, that is, causes lysis in the tissues of colon, and therefore it was called histolytica. There are two more species in human body. One is Entamoeba coli. It also lives in colon, but it is non-pathogenic. It does not cause any disease. Now, you should care that Amoeba coli is named as Entamoeba histolytica, and Entamoeba coli is a different species. The third species is Entamoeba gingivalis. It lives in gum of teeth and induces pyorrhea. Pyorrhea is caused by another protozoa, Trichomonas bacchalis, as well as bacteria. So anyone is not the cause of pyorrhea. There may be three causes, two protozoa and one bacteria. The Entamoeba histolytica bores into the intestinal wall, causing lesions and intestinal symptoms, as it can reach the blood stream also. From the blood, it can reach different vital organs of the human body, usually the liver, but sometimes the lungs, brain, spleen, etc. Liver infection is more common than infection of the other organs. A common outcome of this invasion of tissues is a liver abscess, which can be fatal if not treated well. It causes enlargement of liver, damage to tissue, pain in the upper part of abdomen that can lead to severe other diseases. In the intestine, the mature entamoeba is uninucleated and it is known as trophozoite stage because it is active feeding stage. It is a monopodial species. That means it has only one pseudopodium. But when it feeds on tissue debris or RBC, it forms minute pseudopodia at the tip of the larger single pseudopodium. Entamoeba has a clear distinction between ectoplasm and endoplasm. In the ectoplasm, no cell organelle is found, but in the endoplasm, endoplasmic reticulum, Golgi complex, nucleus, as well as some food vacuoles are present. They have no contractile vacuole and no mitochondria because it is endoparasite living in anoxic medium. However, sometimes water vacuoles are seen. These vacuoles are formed because of drinking of water by a process called pinocytosis. When the trophozoite is filtered out of stool, taken on a glass slide, and stained with iron hematoxylin, you can see the nucleus very well. But in addition to nucleus, some dark staining bodies are seen in cytoplasm. These are the particles of nucleoproteins, and these are named as chromatoid bodies. It is thought that these nucleoprotein granules serve as reserve food materials. The nucleus has a distinct nuclear membrane. Most mass of chromatin is condensed around in the peripheral part of nucleus, but in the center there is a highly condensed nuclear mass known as karyosome or endosome. Now, a question is very common among students. You can ask me, if a person can digest so many types of food, why he or she cannot digest an amoeba, giardia, tapeworm, or roundworm? Why they survive in our intestine and become pathogenic? The answer is, from the cell surface or the surface of epidermis by the worms, some chemicals are secreted that cause denaturation of enzyme. They destroy activity of enzyme and therefore protect themselves from the action of our digestive enzymes. These chemicals are commonly known as anti-enzymes. Because of their secretion, enzymes are damaged and therefore digestion of our food also is affected. In this photograph, you can see that there is a nucleus in the upper part of the cell. Towards lower part, it has a pseudopodium. In addition to nucleus and a karyosome inside it, a few dark granules are seen. These are the food vacuoles. In the second diagram, it is photograph of a tetranucleated cyst. Here the chromatoid body is seen as dark purple elongated structure. There are 4 nuclei inside the cell. This is an excellent photograph of pentamoeba suspended in water. You can see the large oval structure of nucleus and the karyosome inside it. All the cells have similar structures except the difference in magnification. In this diagram, the trophozoite stage, pre-cystic stage, and the cystic stages are shown. The upper left diagram shows trophozoite having 5 food vacuoles, a nucleus, and distinction of ectoplasm and endoplasm. In the upper right diagram, pre-cystic stage is shown, in which pseudopodium is being withdrawn. The cell gradually becomes oval. The food vacuoles are lost. In the lower 3 diagrams, cyst wall is formed. From 1 nucleus, 2 nuclei, and from 2, 4 nuclei have been formed. In the test of stool, you will see all the 5 stages in the stool suspension. The trophozoite form present in the entamoeba is its adult form, and it has two types. One type is smaller, hardly 15 micron or micrometer in size. These are called minuta forms. They live inside the lumen of colon, feed upon the food residues present therein. They always remain within the lumen and never invade into the wall of colon. So these are harmless or non-pathogenic. They regularly divide every day by binary fission, and some of the doubters can convert into magna form. So minuta and magna form are same species and interconvertible. The magna form is larger, about 25 micrometer in size. They live in intestinal lumen and invade the wall of intestine. They reach the mucosa, feed upon the cell and tissue debris, as well as the connective tissue cells. They also damage blood capillaries and feed upon RBC. So they cause local sores or different size and depth. When the sore bursts, bleeding takes place and blood clots are formed. Whenever there is intestinal infection, the discharge of mucus increases, and therefore with the stool, large amount of mucus and blood clots can be seen. Digestion is always affected, causing dysentery, and with stool, mucus and blood clots are seen. If the stool suspension is seen very carefully, binucleated cyst, tetranucleated cyst, and some very small marble-like crystals known as Charcot-Leyden crystals are seen. Now, after feeding for some times, when the entamoeba becomes large, after a few days of infection, they stop to divide because the internal environment becomes unfavorable. The gaseous products and toxic products present in colon do not allow their binary fission, and therefore they become round. The water vacuoles and pinocytic vesicles are lost, but chromatoid bodies and glycogen granules are stored. Gradually, the nucleus divides to form 2 or 4 daughter nuclei, and then a cyst wall is secreted around the cell. Earlier, it was thought that the cyst of entamoeba has 2 layers, outer made of lipid and inner made of protein. As lipid is not digested in the stomach, so the cyst wall dissolves only when it comes in small intestine, and then the metacystic entamoeba or the excystic entamoeba emerge out of the cyst wall. Now in 2011, it has been confirmed that the cell wall or the cyst wall of entamoeba is made of chitin. Chitin is a polymer of N-acetyl glucosamine. It is also associated with some protein molecules. One of them is carbohydrate binding protein known as Jacob lectins. Another is Jesse lectins that makes the wall impermeable. So these protein and chitin together protect the cell present inside the cyst from the external environment. The cyst can survive in moist soil for 10 to 15 days without any damage, without any loss of vitality. In this diagram, you can see that a trophozoite divides by binary fission, forming two daughter trophozoites. That is, the upper purple colored structure is found inside our intestinal lumen. But thereafter trophozoite form pre-cystic stage and tetranucleated cyst is formed. This cyst contaminates food and water and again comes into intestine of some other man. Again in the intestine, the metacystic entamoeba emerges out, divides to form 8 daughter entamoeba. The fecus or stool of patients contain live trophozoites as well as the binucleated and tetranucleated cyst. The binucleated cyst also convert into tetranucleated cyst. When the fecus is discharged unsafely in open, the cyst can contaminate drinking water sources, including the shallow open wells and tube wells, and can directly be carried to food by houseflies. Cleaning of hands properly is also essential, otherwise it can infect when food is taken with dirty and soiled hands, particularly by the children. It spreads mostly in rainy season when the contaminated food and water is taken orally. The tetranucleated cyst come into alimentary canal. The organism hatching out of cyst is called metacystic entamoeba. From the metacystic entamoeba, 8 daughter entamoeba are produced by serial mitosis. In 3 to 4 days in intestine, some of them develop cyst wall, and within that, the nucleus divide to form 2 or 4 nuclei according to cyst. These are binucleated and tetranucleated cyst. This tetranucleated cyst is the contaminating structure. It is the infective stage that is taken orally by another people, especially the children. So you can say that from one person to another, there is transmission directly through the contaminated food and water, or orally by taking food with dirty hands. The mosquitoes that sit on the fecus can contaminate our food material also. So these are potent vectors but not the host. Humans are only host. So the parasite is called monogenetic parasite. In this diagram, the binary fission by trophozoite is shown in human lumen, intestinal lumen, and in the second diagram, tetranucleated cysts are formed inside human lumen, and after reinfecting a fresh man, a new man, the exocystic or metacystic entamoeba come out, divide serially by mitosis, and from the 4 nuclei, 8 daughter entamoeba are formed. The incubation period is highly variable, but generally 4 to 5 days. A wide spectrum from asymptomatic infection, that is luminal amoebiasis, to invasive intestinal amoebiasis causing dysentery, colitis, appendicitis, toxic megacolon amoebomas, and to invasive extraintestinal amoebiasis occur. In this diagram, the three forms have been shown. In the lower part, you see there is asymptomatic, that is entamoeba lives inside human body causing nothing, no effect. But in upper side there is symptomatic infection. The symptoms may appear because of the damage of intestine, as well as infection may be extraintestinal, in liver, spleen, lungs, brain, etc. Only about 10 to 20% of people who are infected with entamoeba become sick from the infection. It can live in intestine without causing symptom, but they can also cause intestinal and extraintestinal amoebiasis. When these amoebas invade the wall of intestine, leading to amoebic dysentery, an illness that causes intestinal ulcer, bleeding, increased mucus production, and diarrhea. The typical manifestation of intestinal amoebiasis is amoebic dysentery. The symptoms are often quite mild and can include loose feces, loose motion, stomach pain, and stomach cramping. In acute amoebic dysentery, the symptoms include abdominal pain, bloody stool, fever, tenderness, rectal tenesmus, and hepatomegaly, that is enlargement of liver. On clinical grounds, amoebic dysentery should be differentiated from bacillary dysentery. In the latter, stool frequency is more, that is more than 10 per day. Stool volume is low, color is bright red, RBC forms Roliox, and there is no charcoal, lead, and crystal in the stool. But normally, when dysentery appears, not only entamoeba but amoebic and bacterial infections both are at the same time. The intestinal ulcer and strictly confined to the large intestine, being most numerous in the cecum and next in the sigmoid rectal region. The lesions may be generalized or localized. A typical amoebic ulcer varies from a pin's head to 1 inch or more in diameter in size. The shape of ulcer may be round or oval. If there is severe colitis, it may need a surgical removal, otherwise medication is sufficient. On the vertical section, the ulcer appears like flask with mouth and neck being narrow and base being large and rounded. The base of ulcer is generally formed by the muscular coats and filled up by necrotic materials, that is damaged tissues. The ulcers generally do not extend deeper than some mucosa layer. This is the photograph of the transverse section of colon having ulcers. You can see how the epiderm is damaged, epithelium is damaged in the lower photographs in the left as well as in the right. This is diagrammatic structure of colon showing the position of ulcer. It may be superficial, deeper ulcer, a more deeper ulcer with perforation, and a ulcer in which blood capillaries are damaged. So, in the latter case, frequent bleeding occurs and blood clots are formed. The extraintestinal infections include infection of liver, that is more common, and sometimes in spleen, lungs, urogenital duct, and brain. Now come to study how prevention and control of amoebiasis can be done. As I have discussed, it mostly spread due to contamination of food and water. The housefly should be controlled, sanitation system should be improved, and fecal discharge should be disposed safely. Open defecation is very wrong. Drinking water resources like rivers and lakes must be free of coliform bacteria and protozoa. Use of boiled water or chlorinated filtered water prevents its infection. The children must be educated not to take anything into mouth using soiled and dirty hands. In case if dysentery occurs, antiprotozoal medicines like metronidazole and tinidazole are used alone or in combination with antibiotics such as norfloxacin, ciprofloxacin, metrogyl, etc. So you have learned everything about entamoeba. Thank you very much.